Howdy folks, we're going to keep it going here with some ways of working with data in a relational database management system, specifically MySQL or really MariaDB again, but they're basically the same thing for us. So there's a couple basic operations we're going to look at. I commonly referred to as Crud Operations. It's create, read, update, and delete. So ways of creating data. So we've used this insert option here, but when we're writing code in PHP, we don't have an insert button and a bunch of things to fill out. So we're going to have to do the SQL itself here. So it gives you some starter code, and that's not all that important. If you want, you can say, hey, insert, and it gives you a couple things, which is actually super handy. So the insert button fills in a lot of what we're going to need. So you have to give it, a couple things. You say insert into, and then the name of the table. So this is stocks in this case. Then what you're going to give it is the list of fields that you are going to provide. So I'm going to give you the symbol, I'm going to give you the name, I'll give you the current price. And now it gives you ID here. I'm not a fan of that, so you can either leave it in or take it out. I prefer taking it out because it's just less typing for me here. So then that means I don't need to give it that fourth value here. So the first then value will be, okay, what is the symbol? So we could add in here then another symbol for another stock. So we could go in here and say, well, what was another interesting stock back then? Trying to think of another one that had a lot of hype last year. So GameStop was one, and I think it was, oh man, Bed Bath & Beyond, BBB, I think what it was. So that was BBB stock. Is that it? Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond. Sure, so their name, Bed Bath & Beyond Inc. So we're going to insert into the symbol BBB. The name then will be Bed Bath & Beyond Inc. Right? Was it Inc. Corp? Yeah, Inc. I don't know if that actually matters at all. GameStop Corp. Sure. And then the last value, current price. So notice these are all in quotes. I don't actually want the current price to be in quotes here. This is just numeric here. So this will be 8.18 here for our current price. So you give it insert into the name of the table. Now they do this extra quoting here, which also is probably not necessary for us here because all of ours are fine. So I'll usually take those out, and that'll just make life easier for us in PHP land. You say insert into the table name, then you give it the list of fields, and then we tell it values. Well, what values do we want to match this list of fields? So BBB, the name, Bed Bath & Beyond, and the current price. And you say go. It says one row is inserted, great, and now I can go back to browse, and we'll see I now have GameStop, and I have BBB, Bed Bath & Beyond, for their price. And their ID here is 2. That's the second stock we added. So that's the create option. The read option, to read, is actually pretty simple. It's select here, and then star is common, but it's not good practice when we get into coding, and then you say from and the name of the table. So if we go back to SQL, and we do select, again, you get a star here is not great here. So I'm not a fan of that, and you don't need this where one. That one's just silly. So what is better practice, instead of saying select star, you give it the list of fields that you want. So I will say, hey, I want the symbol, comma, the name, comma, the current price, comma, the ID. I know it's kind of redundant, and star it is technically faster here, but if this table ever changes and my code only ever has star, weird stuff can happen. So it's very good practice when you're dealing with coding. It's very good practice. That's not even very good English, but it's good practice when coding to be explicit and say, hey, give me these field names, please, from the table. And that'll work out pretty well. So then when we say go here, we'll get the list, right? And it looks identical to what we had before with the select star because that's all of the field names. That's all we had. So that's the read. So we created with insert. We read with select. I know they don't always match here, which is unfortunate. So we've got the create, we've got the read, and we're going to do update. So for updating here, that one's actually pretty easy. We say update, and then the name of the table. And then we say set. Well, what do we want to set here? And this where one is silly. So we don't want symbol to change. That's fine. We don't want name to change. We want current price to change. So I'm going to change the current price here, and I'm going to set it equal to, well, let's say BBB, Bed Bath & Beyond, went up a little bit. Maybe we'll be at like 912 here. So we'll say, okay, let's go and set the current price to 912. Now the problem is this command will update every current price because we haven't told it to be specific. So in order to be specific when we update, you need to give it what's known as a where clause. So the where clause says only do it where this is true. Kind of like an if statement, right? If this is true, do the update. So we'll say where, And then in here we can say, now we can either go by ID or by symbol or even by name, but we want to be nice and specific. So let's go by symbol. We'll say symbol equals BBB. And now this is where it's crazy here. This single equal sign is used for setting and it's used for equality in SQL commands. There is no double equal sign. We don't need to say symbol equal equal BBB here. Just a single equal sign is fine because you're sort of can be used for assigning things, but SQL is kind of a funny thing here. And take the Intro to Database course if you want to learn more about SQL. But we're updating what table, we're setting what field to what value, and then where what is true. So if we had multiple stocks in here with this same symbol, we would update multiple. But we know the symbol was unique, so we should be in good shape to say go. One row is affected. Now if I go back to browse, it will show the price here for BBB is $9.12 because that's what we just updated it to. So that's update. So we've created, we've read, right? We've updated. Remember, the create is insert, the read is select, the update is update, and then delete is also delete. So if we run, let's actually insert one more. We'll go to SQL here. Let's just insert one more kind of a dummy stock here. So let's do test and price of like 1. And I'm gonna take out ID because I think that's a little silly and redundant, and I don't need it here. So we'll just add here a test stock. So if I go browse, I see test. That's ID is 3, symbols test, great. So now if I go to SQL to delete something, I click on delete, you say delete from, and then name of the table again, so stocks here, where. So you want the where clause. If you just say delete from stocks, that's the danger zone. It will delete everything. Boom, it's all gone. Not good here. We don't want that to happen. So we want to delete from stocks where the symbol equals test. And now if I say lowercase t test, you can do this simulate query, which is really cool. It says it matched one row. Notice lowercase t and uppercase t still matched. Right? It's pretty handy like that. Generally, it's not case sensitive when we're looking at text here. So if we say go, we'll say, hey, do you really want to delete? Now, deletes can be dangerous. So it's nice that it gives you this little check here. Do you really want to do that? And yeah, we wanted to do it. It deleted test, and now our test is gone. Okay, so create, read, update, and delete. It's select to, insert to create, select to read, update to update, delete to delete. So those are our basic operations for working with data in the table. When we get to the next chapter, we'll look at how we actually do that with PHP. But for now, we're just looking at how we are going to interact with the database directly here, and then we'll start translating it to PHP next week. All right, folks, see you in the next video.